Okay, hear me out. I don't know if anyone else is the same, but muscly, stereotypical, good-looking guys are not my type. Like, my type is like shy, cute guys that don't really know that they're good looking.
The women in today's video all seem to be about the nice guy, the guy they can finally build something long-term with. But what happened to all the bad boys in their past? Let's get into the mess.
All the guys that comment on videos being like, why such a pretty girl with such a mid guy? Let me break it down for you. As a girl, you could be the hottest guy in the world, but if you have a nasty personality or you've wronged me or disrespected me in some way, you will suddenly, chemically become the ugliest person on this planet. I've had exes that I used to think were so attractive and then they treated me poorly, and now even though they look the exact same, I'm literally like, no, you're not attractive anymore. The opposite is true for my boyfriend. He typically is not the type that I would normally go for, and yet now I look at him and I'm like, wow, you are actually the cutest, hottest, most attractive person I've ever been with. And this isn't just like oh my god, you're so cute to me. Like, something actually changes in my brain that makes me see you differently. And I know a lot of my girlies are like this. So while you think that guy might be mid, I guarantee that pretty girl you're talking about thinks he is the most attractive person in the world because he treats her right.
It's a known fact that women aren't as bothered about looks in comparison to men. So what she's saying here isn't that surprising. I've heard from women plenty of times about how they weren't physically attracted to their partner when they first met, but over time, other elements of his nature won them over. This doesn't mean that a guy's physical appearance doesn't mean anything, because trust me, it can take you a long way, especially if what you're looking for is a quick hookup and a good time. At the end of the video, when she said that the hot girl sees her mid-boyfriend as the most attractive person in the world because he treats her right, I think is really oversimplifying things. If treating a woman was all it took to be successful in dating, there wouldn't be so many dudes rotting away in the friend zone. There are loads of qualities or traits that women look for in men, and the more of these you can check off, the better your chances will be.
I feel like I'm gonna be single forever because I don't want a man who treats me well because he's in love with me. I want a man who generally treats women well and also happens to be in love with me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to date someone who has thousands of horror stories about how they tortured women and then he fell in love with me, so he treats me differently from everyone else. I want a consistent track record of treating women like human beings, and he also is in love with me, so I'm special. And I just feel like that's just not possible in this day and age, and it makes me very nervous.
Sometimes, I wonder what kind of men these women are surrounding themselves with, because I don't think most guys just walk around treating women poorly. And her whole thing about guys having thousands of horror stories about how they tortured women until they fell in love with the one is a bit extreme. If what she's talking about are guys who've enjoyed a lot of situationships but never committed to those women for whatever reason, to me, it makes sense that he'd treat the woman he sees a future with very differently. In my own case, I never treated women I was having fun with poorly, but I also wasn't super attentive to their needs and wouldn't necessarily go out of my way for them. And I'm sure that on their part, there were plenty of things they wouldn't do for me either. In any case, just because a man may treat the women in his life differently because of the connection he has with them, it doesn't mean he's treating them poorly or doesn't see them as human. After watching this clip, I had to check out the comments to see what was being said, so here we go. OMG, yes, I keep hearing that BS talking point of, he will do things for the girl he actually wants. And I'm like, y'all realize that's absolutely horrific, right? Like, to the point of sociopathy. I don't know what she's talking about. People will always do more for the ones they're closest to. It doesn't matter what their gender is. While I'd take a bullet for my wife, I'm not gonna take one for a random girl on the street. And I know, that's an extreme example, but I'm trying to make a point. Women do the same thing when it comes to guys. There's no way you'll be able to convince me that women will treat a guy they're really into the same way they'd treat someone they locked away in the friend zone. But let's move on to this next comment. Literally, even my guy friends have admitted that they only became friends with me and treat me well because they had a crush on me at some point. And I'd bet you good money that if she offered them sex today, they'd take it and not think twice. Anyway, what do you guys think about this clip? Do you think she'll be single forever because she can't find a man who treats women well?
Okay, hear me out. I don't know if anyone else is the same, but Muscly, stereotypical good-looking guys are not my type. Like, my type is like shy, cute guys that don't really know that they're good looking. Like, even you can, like, someone's aura can be so attractive, and like their smile, I just love that. Yeah, just like someone who's a little bit different. I feel like that is just my type.
When it comes to what type of man she's into, we can only go by what she's telling us in this video because we don't know her. While there are things that women are generally attracted to in men, not everyone wants the same thing, so you can't paint all women with the same brush. Since I'm reacting to this video though, I wonder what traits she's leaving out. Like, does she want her man to be assertive, confident, ambitious, or competent? I say this because certain guys will listen to what she said and think that she listed off all the traits she wants in a man. Then they'll try to be that guy, not thinking about things that were left unsaid. And when going through the comments on the original video, you can see guys doing exactly that.
Girl, are you telling me that you have a man that is good on paper, that you have chemistry with, and he's boring? That is the trifecta of the perfect husband. Trust me when I tell you, I have seen enough to know for sure that it is the boring ones that make the best husband. Do you know what happens when you marry the exciting, fun, adventurous, enigmatic man? One day he wakes up and looks at you, and you've had a couple of kids, and he thinks, how did my life become so boring? And think, how did I go from having so much fun to talking about sleep schedules and sugar content and the Steiner method?
While dating the boring guy might come with safety, stability, and reliability, a lot of women tend to get tired of them over time. Even though Mr. Boring has the qualities that a long-term relationship needs to be successful, it can also lead to cheating if the woman starts to crave excitement. And if you don't believe me, you can go read the thousands of Reddit cheating stories that detail this exact thing. Boring guys often fail when it comes to fulfilling a woman's desire for adventure and unpredictability. And while the exciting guy can give her all of that, he's more likely to lack the things that make a relationship work. Relationships with no spark, or fail to keep things fresh, are bound to fail sooner or later. So just getting yourself a boring guy doesn't mean your relationship will be fulfilling.
These are the men who grow to hate and resent their wives and their children, and then they have a midlife crisis, and they spend all your money on a fancy car, and they run off with a 21-year-old. They go on a boys' trip, and then they fall out of a second-story balcony, and then they end up hooked on painkillers. It's so fun and exciting, right? The boring guy, on the other hand, when he says he wants a boring life, he means he wants a quiet, comfortable, happy life with no drama. It means that he enjoys the idea of being with the same person every day, going to sleep with them, waking up next to them, going to work, coming home at the same time, in time for dinner, maybe watching a TV show after dinner together, and then cuddling.
I could be wrong about this, but I feel like Mr. Boring is just as likely to have a midlife crisis as Mr. Exciting, and maybe more so if he was never able to do the things he's always wanted to do. She's making it seem like life with a boring guy is always going to work, but in reality, I'd say that the majority of people are a mixture of the two. I don't think it's rare for men to provide stability and a bit of excitement so he can keep the flame burning in a relationship. And if that's not something he's able to do, then, as I said earlier, him and his partner are probably going to fall into the trap of monotony or resentment.
And then spending the weekends making a meal plan and going to the farmer's market and mowing the lawn. He is the one who subscribes to the idea of happy wife, happy life. He is a yes dear man who wants something. His answer is always yes dear. As long as you are home when he gets home and you're making him his favorite meal and then giving him a nightcap, he is happy. He is not out there chasing women half his age, okay? He is not the guy who will gamble away your life savings. He's not buying a motorcycle and then trying to ride the motorcycle and then crashing the motorcycle. And here's another little tidbit of information that you need to understand. As a woman, if you have a man in your life, you inevitably will suffer the consequences for every stupid, bad decision this man will make.
If a guy becomes a yes dear man, doing everything his wife tells him to, the second she asks, over time, she's probably going to lose respect for him. Sometimes, you have to tell your partner no and prioritize whatever your needs are in that moment. A woman will find it hard to be or stay attracted to a guy she doesn't respect, so having a backbone is in your best interest. And the whole thing about a woman having to suffer the consequences of her husband's bad decisions is true. But like everything else in a relationship, that shit goes both ways.
Were we not paying attention to Orange is the New Black? That was the message. Go back and watch it if you missed it. But almost all of those women were there because they attached themselves to an idiot man who made stupid, bad decisions. But I'm sure that was all so fun and exciting at the beginning. Now again, maybe marriage and settling down and having a nice, quiet, stable life is not for everybody, and that's okay. In that case, my advice is to stay single. But if you want to get married, ladies, if you want to have a happy marriage and a nice, comfortable life, marry the boring guy. You can always be exciting enough for the both of you.
Gosh, she's really going in on this man making bad decisions thing. But I'd argue that anyone who had the ability to be that destructive to your life would have shown a bunch of red flags early on. And if that's the case, why were those signs ignored? And I can't forget one of the last things she said about the woman being exciting enough for the both of them, because that comes with its own set of problems, as it creates a situation where it's just one person who's burdened with the job of maintaining the vibrancy in a relationship, which I promise you won't end well. My message to all the boring guys out there is to keep an eye open, because if your wife's not getting the excitement she needs from your relationship, that adventurous coworker might start looking like a viable option for her. Just saying.
Every angry, bitter misogynist was once a sensitive romantic who worshipped women. I recently realized that your average teenage boy puts women on such a pedestal. Like he wants to conquer the world for that girl in math class. And then he gets exposed to stuff like this. He gets jaded and bitter at how complicated, even impossible it is to please women. It's like, my intentions are so pure. I would go to the ends of the earth if you would just tell me clearly what you wanted. But you bitches suck. You're making it hard on purpose. You are not doing yourself or anybody a favor when you put someone on a pedestal. Women are not angels of light and mercy. They are human. So sometimes nice, sometimes contrary, hypocritical, ruthless, judgmental, or stupid. The challenge is to let go of your attachment to female validation, to become internally motivated with a strong sense of self and purpose, to find meaningful companionship that's not romantic, so you stop caring so much what every random woman says or does. I actually think women hate being put on a pedestal. What I want, what I think women want, is a man on a mission. Ambitious, optimistic, resilient, with energy and a sense of purpose that I admire and believe in. To him, life has meaning. He does what he thinks is right, whatever people say. What makes a man attractive, a good leader, competent, a good father? In my eyes, they're all the same question.
This video hits the nail on the head when it comes to how men, and in particular, young men, pedestalize women, which ends up biting them in the ass. Now, I won't go as far as to say that every man who gets hurt becomes a misogynist, because that's an extreme take. But they do tend to become more jaded when it comes to women and dating. If you're a guy who looks at women as if they can do no wrong, I promise you, your wake-up call is coming soon enough. I'm pretty much on board with most of what she said in this video. Aside from assuming that all hurt guys become misogynist, that term gets used way too much. The comments on this video were exactly what I expected them to be, which was guys venting their frustrations about women, dating, and sex. I mean, check out what this guy had to say. I have been hurt by 4 different women and have been cheated on by all of them. I've had 3 to 4 years with each of them, but all of them have ended with the same results. I gave up on having any sort of relationship. And then a guy under that commented, "Dude, same here. I totally understand your pain. I've had women fall in love with me, and me with them, only for them to leave for their own personal reasons. And this has all happened about maybe 4 or 5 times in my life. I don't know what the future brings, but given this pattern, I'm not optimistic. And then the first commenter came back with, "I already gave up. No more relationships for me. I treated them with care and love, did all the chores every single day without complaining, provided and paid for everything she wanted and needed, give them support and help with her life and career. I devoted my life, resources, and time to her. If everything I did is wrong, then I don't know what's right anymore. That's why I gave up. I'm tired of getting used so many times, and they repay me with cheating. It's not worth it." To me, it feels like more guys are losing hope every day, which makes me wonder if anything can turn this ship around. Anyway, that's about it for today. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.